night in jail. The defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for the manufacturing of fireworks without a permit.
Yeah, kept me in the same cell with a mime from a minstrel show.
I was in the same cell with Mr. Kirby. He was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the mime, they were fighting all night.
A lot about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company on 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended, declared he was in no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Harvard Club, the Racket Club, and the National Geographic Society. He really is a joiner.
All them rich men are elks or something.
I suppose after all this, Mr. Tony ain't ever gonna marry Miss Alice, huh?
No, sir. And it's too bad, too. Miss Alice sure loves that boy.
Ever notice how rich folks always getting themselves into trouble?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not rich.
Me too.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that food out in the kitchen. Ain't gonna be no party tonight, that's sure.
Ain't we gonna eat it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it. I don't think anybody's gonna have an appetite.
I'm hungry.
Well, they ain't. They're all so broke up about Miss Alice.
What she got to go away for? Where's she going?
I don't know. Mountains someplace. And she's going all right, no matter what they say. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
Too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
Not even a balloon left. Look.
How's your hand, Mr. Pina? Better?
Yes, it's better. Is there some more olive oil out there?
Yeah, it's in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could change her.
She ain't gonna stay away long, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Reba. She won't say.
My, gonna be awful lonesome around here without her.
How do you feel, Mrs. Sigmore?
Oh, I'm all right, Donald. Just kind of upset. Maybe if I do some work, I'll feel better.
Well, I won't bother you then.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours, Penny. All these years have just been going along, enjoying myself when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Oh, don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father. And husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone ahead and been an architect. I don't know. Something that Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night looking at Mr. Kirby.
Oh, but we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm kind of all mixed up now.
What time is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves at 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. I'm sure he could persuade her.
But she won't. He's been trying all day.
Where is he now?
I don't know. I suppose walk around the block again. She won't talk to him.
Maybe he can catch her as she's leaving.
It won't help Penny.
No, I don't suppose so. Oh, I feel so sorry for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, let the girl alone.
Oh, but Grandpa!
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be back. You can take just so much Adirondacks, and then you come home.
Oh, but it's all so terrible, Grandpa.
In a way. But it has a bright side, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into the patrol wagon, for one thing. And the expression on his face when Donald and him had to share a cell together. I'll never forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to, if I can have things like that going on.
Oh, it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron searched her, there was a mine there, and she kept mimicking her every move while Mrs. Kirby shook with rage.
I'll bet you Bar Harbor is gonna seem pretty dull to the Kirbys. Need any help with that, Alice?
No thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to press these.
Alice, dear.
No. I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you.
Would you like some candy along for the train, Alice?
No thanks, Essie.
Really, Alice, you could be just as alone here as you could in the mountains. You could stay right in your room all the time.
No, Mother. I want to be by myself. Away from everybody. I love you all, and you know that. But I just have to go away for a while. I will be all right. Father, did you phone for a cab?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
Oh, I told Mr. DePina to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
Oh, he told me, but I forgot.
Oh, I wish I lived in a family that didn't always forget everything, that behaved the way other people's families do. I'm sick of cornflakes and Donald and everything! Why can't we be like other people? Roast beef and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table and a place you could bring your friends to without I'll see if I can do anything.
Tony, talk to her. She's in the kitchen.
Thanks. Alice, at least let me talk to you, please.
Tony, it's no use!
At least listen to me.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked right out the minute he came in.
Knock the olive oil right out of my hand. I'm going to smell kind of fishy.
How are you feeling, Mr. DePina? Hand still hurting you?
No, it's better.
Everything burnt up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. And my Roman costume, too.
I told you there was a bright side to everything. Except my 23 years back income tax. I get another letter every day.
Say, what are you gonna do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I kind of had an idea yesterday. It may not work. But I'm trying it anyhow.
What is it?
Good evening, everybody. Pardon me. The door was open.
Come on in.
Excuse me for coming today. I realize you are upset.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Kalenkov.
I don't think I can take a lesson, Mr. Kalenkov. I don't feel up to it.
Well,
Oh, but do stay to dinner, Mr. Kalenkov. We've got all that food out there, and somebody's got to eat it.
I would be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Now, tell me, do I know you well enough to ask of you a great favor?
Why, of course, Mr. Kalenkov. What is it?
You have heard me speak of my friend, the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
Yes.
A wonderful woman, this Grand Duchess. She's a cousin of the Tsar. And now she's a waitress in Child's restaurant, Times Square.
Yes, I know. If there's anything at all that we can do, Mr. Kalenkov.
I tell you, the Grand Duchess had not had a good meal since before the revolution.
She must be hungry.
And not only is today the Grand Duchess's day off, Thursday, but it's also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
Why, Mr. Kalenkov, if you mean you'd like the Grand Duchess to come to dinner here, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes.
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
Oh, I can hardly wait to meet her. Where is she now?
She's outside in the street, waiting. I don't believe it.
ready for her cue.
You know, if this keeps on, I want to live to be 150.
The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. Your Highness, permit me to present Madam Sycamore, Madam Carmichael, Grandpa, Mr. Sycamore, Mr. Carmichael, Dapina, and, well,
Gay Wellington.
yeah, that.
Do sit down, Your Highness. Thank you. You are most kind. We are honored to receive you, Your Highness. I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner? Oh, it'll be quite soon, Your Highness. Very soon. Good. I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I am substituting for another waitress.
And make sure you're on time, Your Highness.
Thank you, Colonel.
You know, Highness, I think you waited on me in Childs once. 72nd Street, please.
No. That was my sister.
The Grand Duchess Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Quite a lot of you folks living over here now, aren't there?
Ah, yes. Men. My uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei. He is an elevator man at Macy's. A very nice man. Then there is my cousin, Prince Alexei. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works in Hattie Carnegie. He is in ladies' underwear.
When he was selling hot dogs at Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you.
Ah, Kolenkov, our time is coming. My sister, Natasha, is studying to be a manicurist. And Uncle Sergei, they've promised to make floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to the Fifth Avenue Childs, and from there it'll only a step to Schrapp's. And then we will see what Prince Alexei says.
I think you've got him.
You're telling me.
Your Highness, did you know the Tsar? Personally, I mean.
Of course. He was my cousin. It was terrible what happened to him, but perhaps it was for the best. Where could he get a job now?
Pravda. That is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in everything. My cousin, the King of Sweden, he was very nice to us for about 10 years. Every once in a while, he would send a money order. But then he said, I just cannot go on. I'm not doing so well myself. I do not blame him.
No, of course not. Will you excuse me for a minute?
Tell me, Grand Duchess, is it true what they say about Rasputin?
Ah, everyone wants to know about Rasputin. Yes, my dear sir, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
Your Highness, you must watch the time.
Ah, yes. I must not be late. My manager does not like me. He is a communist.
We'll hurry things up. Essie, why don't you go into the kitchen and see if you can help Reva?
I will help too. I'm a very good cook.
Oh, but Your Highness, not on your day off.
Oh, I do not mind. There is your kitchen.
Right through here, but you're the guest of honor, Your Highness.
But I love to cook. Come, Kolenkov. If they have some sour cream and pot cheese, I will make you some blintzes.
Ah! Blintzes! God bless no one. We saw you something.
Say, the Duchess is all right, isn't she? Hey, Duchess, can I help? She's got a wonderful face to her mask, hasn't she?
Yes, she really is a wonderful woman, you know, considering she's a Grand Duchess.
Wonderful what some people go through, isn't it? And still keep kind of gay, too.
Mm-hmm. She made me forget about everything for a while.
I better call that cab, I suppose.
No, wait, Paul, here they are. Maybe Tony has... Ed, can you go up and bring my bag down?
Don't do it, Ed.
Ed, please!
All right, Ed. Penny, you've got the stubbornest daughter in all 48 states.
That must be the
It
It
is.
is certainly wonderful service.
Is Tony here, Alice?
Oh, yes? Yes, he is. And Mr. Kirby. And Mrs. Kirby.
How do you do?
Ah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Forgive my intruding. Tony, I want you to come home with us at once. Your mother is very upset. Very well, Father.
Bye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I need hardly say that this is as painful to Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is to you people. I'm sorry, but I'm sure you understand.
Well, yes. And in a way, no. Now, I'm not the type of person that tries to run other people's lives, Mr. Kirby. But the fact is, I don't think these two young people have got as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, please not do this.
I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby, dear. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
You want me to do that for you, Alice?
Can't hurt his mother.
Alice, you're trained to leave for a while.
Will you please send a cab to 761 Claremont? Right away, please. Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Oh, Father.
Are you ready, Tony?
Mr. Kirby, I suppose that after last night you think this family is kind of crazy?
I would not say that, although I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Well, you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, you did come on the wrong night. Now tonight, I bet you, nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
Mr. Vanderhoff, it was not merely last night that convinced Mr. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
I can handle my own affairs, Mother. Alice. The last time. Will you marry me?
No, Tony. I know exactly what your mother means, and she's right.
No, she's not.
Alice, you're in love with this boy, and you're not marrying him because we're the people we are.
I didn't say that, Grandpa.
Look, you think the two families wouldn't get along. Maybe they wouldn't. But who's to say they're right and we're wrong?
Grandpa.
Well, what I feel is that Tony is too nice a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy, the way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff. I'm a very happy man. Are you?
You are?
Certainly I am.
I don't think so. What do you think you get your indigestion from? Happiness? No, sir. You get it because most of your time is spent doing things that you don't want to do.
I don't do anything I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. You said last night that at the end of a week in Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Why do I keep on? Well, that's my business. A man can give up his business.
Why not? You got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
Well, that's a very easy thing for you to say, Mr. Vanderhoff, but I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning, same deals, same meetings, same dinners at night, same indigestion? Where does the fun come in? Don't you think there ought to be something more, Mr. Kirby? You must have wanted more than that when you first started out. We haven't got too much time, you know. Any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Live the way you do? Do nothing?
Well, I have a lot of fun. Time enough for everything. Read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my darts. Even have time to notice when spring comes around. Don't see anyone I don't want to. Don't have 6 hours of things I have to do every day before I get 1 hour to do what I like in. And I haven't taken bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
The matter with that? Suppose we all did it. A fine world we have, everybody going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
There's always people to do the work. You can't stop them. Inventions, and they fly the ocean. There's always people to go down to Wall Street too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, I don't think you're one of them. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of my missing anything.
I wasn't either. Till I quit. I used to get down to that office 9 o'clock sharp every morning, no matter how I felt. I would lay awake at nights for fear that I wouldn't get that contract. I used to worry about the world, too. Got all worked up about whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to get elected president. Seemed awful important then. But who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had 35 years that nobody can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world. See?
Yes, I do see. And it's a very dangerous philosophy, Mr. Vanderhoff. It's un-American. And it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want my only son, Tony, coming under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
Matter with it? Why? It's downright communism. That's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
I most certainly did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so. There was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Why, don't be an idiot, Miriam.
Oh, yes, you did. I read all those letters you wrote to Grandpa all those years ago. Do you remember those?
No! How dare you read those letters? How dare you?
Why, that's wonderful. Did you wear tights, Mr. Kirby?
The whole thing is absurd. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes, but when we first got married, you wanted to be a saxophone player, didn't you?
Miriam!
And when you were 21, you ran away from home because your father wanted you to join the business. It's just down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
I may have had my silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. I went into business and forgot all about them.
Not altogether, dear. There's still a saxophone in the back of your clothes closet.
There it is. That's enough, Miriam. We'll discuss this later.
No, I want to talk about this now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I'm not going back to that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it. And I'll tell you one thing else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony! Well, for heaven's
Because I wanted to wake you up. I wanted you to see a real family, as they truly were. A family that loved and understood each other. You don't understand me. You never had time. Well, I'm not going to make your mistake. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be shoved into the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while there's still time.
But what are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Ask him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa!
Do you mind, Alice? You know, Mr. Kirby, I think Tony is going through just what you and I went through when we were his age. I think if you listen hard enough, you can hear yourself saying the same things to your father 25 years ago. We all did it, and we were right. How many of us will be willing to settle when we were young for what we eventually get? All those plans we make, what happens to them? It's only a handful of the lucky ones that can look back and say they even came close. So, before they clean out that closet, Mr. Kirby, I think I get in a few good hours on that saxophone.
Pardon me, but before I make the blintzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Your Highness, may I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr., the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
How's that?
How do you do?
How do you do? Before I make the blintzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Oh, I'd make quite a stack of them, Your Highness. You can't ever tell.
Good. The Tsar always said to me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who do you say that was?
The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's cooking the dinner.
Oh,
And speaking of dinner, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby, why don't you both and Tony all stay?
Oh, please do, Mrs. Kirby. We've got all that food out there that we were going to have last night.
I mean tonight.
How about it, Mr. Kirby? Looks like it's gonna be a nice dinner, and it'll give us a chance to get acquainted. Why not stay?
How about it, Mother and Father? Are we staying for dinner?
If you'd like to, Tony, I'd care to very much.
Now, if Alice would send away that cat, Mr. Vanderhoff.
How about it, Alice? It's gonna be a nice crowd. Why not stay for dinner?
I'm staying, Alice. Don't you think the families ought to get to know each other?
Mr. Kirby. Tony. Oh, Tony.
Darling.
Grandpa, you're wonderful.
I've been telling you that for years.
Grandpa, there's someone at the door. Oh, how do you do, Mr. Kirby?
How do you do?
When you step into the office, Mrs. Sycamore, I'd like to do a little dictating.
I better tell that cat.
Oh, Grandpa.
The government again. What do you want?
The United States government apologizes. You don't owe us a nickel. It seems you died 8 years ago.
Why, Grandpa, what do they mean?
Remember Charlie, the milkman, buried under my name?
Yes.
Well, I told them that they had made a mistake, and that I was Martin Vanderhoff Jr.
We're very sorry, and you may even get a refund.
Why, Grandpa, you're an old crook.
Sure. You know, why don't you all stay to dinner as well?
Excuse me, Mr. Vanderhoff. How do you say you escaped the income tax?
Tonight, my friends, we're going to eat.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Fine, fine. Glad to see you.
What has happened?
Play something, Ed.
You can all sit down. Everything will be ready in a minute.
Come on, everybody. Dinner. Sit down, Mr. Kirby. Do sit down.
Yes, yes, I'm coming.
As you stop dancing and come to dinner.
You will like Russian food, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, but you must be careful of your indigestion.
Nonsense. I haven't any indigestion.
Well, Miss Sycamore, how was your trip to the Adirondacks?
Shut your face, Mr. Kirby.
Quiet, everyone. Quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. We want to say thanks once more for everything that you've done for us. Things seem to be going along fine. Alice is going to marry Tony, and it looks as if they're going to be very happy together. Of course, the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePina's fault. Not yours. We've all got our health, and as far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it to you. Thank you.
I've just heard from my friend in Russia. He has escaped again.
Mr. Kirby, do you like roast goose? We have roast goose for dinner.
Like it? Why, it's my favorite dish.
I'm gonna dance for you later, Mr. Kirby. I've got a new mazurka.
I've written some special music for it.
I saw you on 72nd Street, didn't I?
No, no. That was my sister.
That is Natasha.
It was her, right?
Yeah, that has to be you.
No, she doesn't work there.
Tell me, Mr. Kirby, what do you think of the Securities Commission?
Ah, the Securities Commission.
Mr. DePina, you better start thinking about next year's fireworks.
Well, here goes the Adirondacks.
And a very good thing, too.
It might seem crazy, what am I saying?